to the Queen today. It's your season. Again, I say get connected to the Queen today. Walk in your purpose. You called to this.
Effective immediately, I am going to start making investments into my self-care, my mental health, and my emotional wellness. Effective immediately, I'm giving myself permission to no longer feel guilty when others try.
Get connected to the Queen today.
Morning. How are you guys this morning? Welcome to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I tell you, it's truly an honor and a privilege to be able to provide this platform for you guys. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you would, please share this in your circle of influence. We're taking this opportunity to highlight 122 authors from around the world, giving you an opportunity to find out about them and their brand. For those that do not know who I am the queen of collaborations, Angela Thomas. I'm also an author. I'm the founder of AALAC, the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine, and my whole desire is to bridge the gap between brown authors all over this world and to touch on topics that's affected our brown community. So if you guys would, please share this morning. I promise you will be blessed by something that's shared on this broadcast this morning. I'm going to move out the way and allow my guests to come up and introduce herself, and we're going to jump into the conversation. Got to bring guests up. Welcome. How are you this morning?
Thank you. Good morning. I'm fine. I'm Rolanda Pyle, and I'm an author. I've written 3 books, and also I write a lot of poetry, and I've contributed to a lot of anthologies. And also I'm a social worker. My profession is a social worker, and I work in the aging field. Right now I work with caregivers for taking care of someone with Alzheimer's and dementia. And for years I worked with grandparents who are raising their grandchildren.
Wow. That is amazing. That is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I definitely thank you for all that you do in your service. Definitely, kids and elderly have a special place in my heart. So I definitely applaud you for what you do. It takes a special person to work with kids and to work with elderly. So that I know you are special. Please, what got you into writing? Why writing? Why become an author? Out of all the ways you could have shared, why author?
Well, it actually just happened. I was very introverted as a child, and that's a lot has to do with because of my childhood and the way I was raised and the circumstances. And so the only way I could really express myself, or I felt comfortable expressing myself, was through writing. So I kept diaries and journals, and I would write stories. I love going to the library because I love reading. And when I was in the 8th grade, my teacher, Miss Giskin, she told me that I have a creative writing ability. And of all the things that my teachers told me, that stuck with me. So I love to express myself as I got older through poetry. I write poems for people's birthdays, for any celebration, for anything that was coming up. And then I started writing poems on issues, political issues and historical issues. And one of my friends said to me, she said, you need to put your writing together and put it in a book. So I did, and that's how I got into it. And I realized that this is one of my callings, that this is where God led me, and so that's how I started writing.
So what was your first book?
My first book was Finally, and I called it Finally because it took me years to get it together. And it's a collection of poetry, and I'm going to show you the book because I have the book right here with me, and it's called Finally. And it's just a collection of some of my poems that I wrote up until that point.
Wow. I tell you, I write poetry, but I got into it because people kept saying I just write words. At first it was just words, and people would read it and they were like, oh, that's nice. Why you don't do poetry? So now I have 3 poetry books. I love doing collaboration projects because I love bringing people together, and where people think that they don't have a voice or think that, hey, I don't have enough to put in the whole book. I try to give them an opportunity to share. I know that you've been a part of a couple of my projects.
Mm-hmm.
I love sharing your poetry. You've submitted a couple of your entries to the magazine. They've actually ran inside of the magazine in our poetry corner.
Mm-hmm.
So please, what has this journey been like for you along this road? Because I know that there's probably been some ups and downs. And for the people that are tuned in, they see us doing these things and they think that sometimes they think we have it all together. But I really want you to share with the listeners what this journey has truly been like for you.
Well, I think it's been a good journey, but it has a lot of difficulties. When I first started to do the poetry book, I remember I first started reaching out to some publishing companies. And one person told me, he said, we very seldom, he said, very few companies publish poetry. And I was like, really? I was surprised because I had no idea. He said, yeah, because poetry doesn't really sell like other books. And we try to, they try to publish what sells. So that's when I realized that I'm going to have to self publish. I got with this company, I guess you would call it that kind of, he was the one who was putting it together for me. He wasn't a publisher, but he put it together and stuff like that. And there was a lot of schisms and stuff. And I ended up having to take him to court because he took my money and he didn't follow through on the project. And so it's been that kind of a bumpy road. And then I think for those of us who self-publish, I think what's most difficult, at least what I find most difficult, is to really promote the book. Like, how do you promote the book? Where do you go? How do you get the word out? So that's also been, challenging.
So that's one of the things that we try to tackle over here on our platforms. We try to
Hmm.
provide individuals with outlets and different things that they can do, because a lot of people get a book and they think just because they have this book that now they're finna be bringing in all this money that they about to start just bankrolling and just about to become a millionaire overnight. Well, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
And I
Right.
tell people all the time, you know, a book is a book. A book
Hmm.
is it's not what's gonna sell.
Right.
It's you connecting with your audience and providing them with something outside of the book. Like, people can take their book. We do workshops and the different little classes, teaching people how they can take their book and build programs around their books. They can build memberships around their book. They can build different things around their book. They can extend their. I know individuals that do poetry as well, and they've taken their poetry and they've turned their poetry into actual monologues
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Yeah.
turned them into different
Okay.
things. People
Yeah.
take their books, they turn their books into plays, even turn them into movies. We just have to learn how to, expand that he's given us, and then we have some of us have chapter books. Some of us may have 10 to 11 chapters. You have 10 to 11 chapters. You have 10 to 11 possible income sources that you can bring in income, because you got 11 chapters. There's 11 things that you can break down and do.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what we try to, encourage people to do. We try to encourage people to stay relevant. You have to build a presence. And people have to feel comfortable with you. I've had individuals tell me they didn't care if I printed blank pages, that they would support me just because they support me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the kind of relationship that authors and writers need to build with their platform, their audience, and those that support them. you know People need to feel comfortable, because when people feel comfortable with you and they feel like they genuinely know you, honey, they'll jump off the bridge for you.
Yeah. That's true. That's
They
true.
will.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things that we try to do over here. We try to help encourage individuals to, stay relevant. That means stay visible. That means stay going to these events. When you have local events in
Yeah.
your area, make
Hmm.
sure that the people in your community know who you are. And those people that host all these events, make sure that they know who you are. So when they have these events, they can invite you to these events so you can stay relevant in your community. That's what I've been encouraging people to do. We
Right.
can't sit down on these gifts. He gave you the gift of poetry, allowed you the opportunity to put it in books. So now you not only do you have an opportunity to share with your elderly clients, those people that you work with on your job, but you can share with your co-workers. You
Hmm.
can share out in the field when you're out in the field, because people don't realize that words and poetry sometimes can soothe whatever you're going through.
Yes, yes.
It can take you to once you get in that book and start reading, it can take you to a whole nother world,
Hmm.
and you forget about all that you're going through. So, how are some of the ways that you've been able to utilize your books to promote your message and what you're trying to get across to the people?
Well, in addition to the poetry book, I have a devotional, which is a compilation. It's kind of like an anthology, but it's a compilation of different devotionals that people submitted and shared some of their stories, some of their testimonies. So I think that's a good way that, the word of what God has done for them gets out. And then and it's called Beneath His Everlasting Wings, and this is the book, Beneath His Everlasting Wings. And then I have a children's storybook, and that's my latest project, and it's called Grandma's Hands. And really, I wrote this book because of what I went through as a child, and I wanted to get it out to children so that they would know that they're not alone in the situation.
Wow, that's amazing. Could you please share a little bit about your children books
Okay,
and your devotion?
okay. Well, the devotional was just really like I said, I had several people, maybe about 12 people. They submitted their different stories, different things that God brought them through, and how they overcame it. And so it's really a collection of different testimonies, really.
In the
And
form of a
so,
devotion.
yeah, in the form of a devotion. And I also submitted a couple of mine. So it's really like a devotional, but it's a devotional story. It's not like, a one-page devotional. It's like an entire
Right.
story devotional. So, and it's really powerful. Some of the testimonies are so powerful, and it covers all kind of things. So all kind of life experiences and how people overcame them.
Wow.
And
I
so that's.
really like devotionals, and
Hmm.
especially when they are anthologies, because it gives individuals, and this time that we're living in now, coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people not able to attend services, so a lot of people had
Right,
to
right,
revert to a lot of different things. So you were seeing people, depend on different resources, because people weren't going to church. And
right,
then even people that may be experiencing church hurt and just not going to church because
right.
whatever the reason is, you know, God has allowed a lot of us the opportunity to share through anthology so that people can see, hey, somebody else not been through this too. And just as he's delivered them and they overcame, hey, you can do it too. And then you
Exactly.
see different people experiencing somewhat the similar same things or whatever, but how they differently handled those situations. So we get to see living testimonies of different people. So people won't say, oh well, that's so and so and that's so. No, they actually get to see God at work through other people and other people
Right.
sharing their story, because it's
Exactly.
the word say we overcome by testimonies.
Right.
So
Exactly.
them being able to share their testimony and people being able to see God at work, I tell you, that is amazing. That is amazing, because in this day and time, everybody's not going to church, and sometimes them picking up that book is gonna be the only Jesus that they see. So I
Exactly.
thank you for that. I thank you for that book and the children's book.
Okay.
Exactly. What is the children book about?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you like a little history how I came to write the children's book because that'll give you more of it. I as a child, I was the oldest of three siblings. We were like 10 months apart, and my mother left us with my father. and she left, and we didn't see her again for like 4 years. And my grandmother stepped in to help my father and with us. And my grandmother was the one who was the nurturer, and she helped us. And my father was a disciplinarian; he was a provider, and she helped him to raise us really. And my grandmother, she died when I was 11. But my one of the things that used to bother when I was a child, I always felt like incomplete because I didn't have a mother in the home. And even one of my friends told me, like a couple of years ago, we were talking, and we were childhood friends, and she said she always thought that when I was her friend, she said she always wondered if I was her friend because I liked her or because I liked her mother. Because I would always be around friends, go around my friends. I would always like go to their house and be talking to their mothers because that's something that I lacked in my life. And I never really felt whole. And I'm sure there were a lot of, and I know now there were a lot of people in the same situation, but I didn't know any at the time. But when I was in junior high school, one of our required reading was Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I read that book, it was like, wow, there's somebody else who's going through the situation. And I identified so much with that book. And I felt like, so now as I got older, I said, I have to write a book for children who are younger than junior high school. So the children who are younger will know that they're not alone. So the book is about a girl named Shonda, and she has to leave her class, leave her state to go live with her grandmother because of situations. And her teacher tells her something that helps her in this journey. But that's the reason why I wrote the book and what led up to the book.
Wow. Um, experienced my experience as well.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I lost my mom 12 days after my 16th birthday.
Wow.
Um, and my experience was a little different from yours because I didn't have my father in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my sister, which is 10 years older than me, she stepped in
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much finished raising me. There was a point where my sister, she decided to move to Atlanta, and I didn't want to move to Atlanta because I was playing basketball. I was hoping to get a scholarship, and I was doing these things, and I wanted to stay behind in hopes that these things would work out for me. So I ended up staying with my dad's sister, which was
Mm-hmm.
my auntie. So that was my little journey. But a lot of people, you wonder when you going through that, is there anybody else that is
Exactly.
experiencing what I'm experiencing?
Mm-hmm.
Because there were a lot of times like you, I wondered, I didn't feel whole. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel complete, and I see now as I look back over my life that because of that feeling un unwholeness, um, allowed me to go down a different road and allowed some of the darkness in my life. Um, so yeah, thank you for that book because kids need to be able to relate and they need to be able to understand that they're not alone in no situation.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely when losing a parent, because when you lose a parent, you sometimes blame yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I know I went through that. I went
Mm-hmm.
through that. So I thank you for that. That is powerful. That is very powerful.
Thank
So what
you.
are you working on now?
Well, I'm working on several different projects. A couple of people, well, a few of my colleagues, they're trying to encourage me to write a children's book about like the continuation, like after Shonda goes to live with her grandmother later on in life. Her grandmother gets Alzheimer's and dementia because that's what we work in, and
Hmm.
how because now we're finding that a lot of grandchildren who went to live with their grandparents, that's what they're dealing with. So they are trying to encourage me to write a book about that. So I'm thinking about that. But one of the things I'm working on is my memoir. I want to tell my life story. And so I'm working on that, and hopefully, that'll come across. That'll come, I'll finish that in the near future. I'm also working on, like, I have several projects that I'm always contributing to different anthologies. So I have a few coming up that I'm contributing to. And of course, I'm always writing poetry about something.
Definitely, you definitely utilize your gift, and you don't mind sharing your gift. So I definitely thank you for that. How can individuals support you? How can they purchase some of your books? How can they follow you on your platforms? and stay connected? How can they connect with you?
Well, you can always get all of my books through my website, which is um, Rose Communications.com, and that's Rose ROROS Communications.com. Or I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, which is Rose Communication. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm on what else? What else is there? Instagram.
Are you on TikTok?
No, I'm not on TikTok. Someone was
Um,
encouraging me the other day that I should get on TikTok, but I haven't gotten on TikTok yet.
yeah, TikTok is like pretty much like Instagram to me. A lot of videos, a lot of pictures are shared. People do reels, they do little small clips. But I like it. And then you can share the content that you have over there on various platforms. You can download it and just share it across your platforms.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I think it's a pretty good community. But I just love social media, period, because it gives us an opportunity to connect with people that we normally wouldn't be able to connect with. Because
Hmm.
during the pandemic, I had the opportunity to be in Africa. I had the opportunity to be in Dubai. Had the opportunity to be in Paris. Had the opportunity to be before a lot of platforms that, hey, I normally may not have been able to be privileged to. So I'm thankful for these various outlets and for all the individuals that allow us to be a part of what they're doing and sharing. Um,
See, I'm
so
like you. A lot of people complain about social media and they talk about the bad parts, which it does have some bad parts to it. But for me, I see the good parts because to me, it's helped me to connect with so many people that I normally would not have been able to connect with. So many people that I wouldn't be able to stay in contact with. And, I'm in like a lot of author groups and I see a lot of opportunities there. I'm in a lot of book groups and, even social work, a lot of social work groups. So I get to really connect with a lot of people. And even for family who, my family lives all over, so it's easier. So I'm with you. I agree with you on social media.
yes, I tell people it's not. It's usually not the source, but the people that are using the source. Like
Mm-hmm.
guns. Guns do not kill by themselves.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's the people that use these guns.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to use social media as a weapon, then it will be a weapon. But if you
Right.
want to use it as a resource, it will be just that, a resource.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to reconnect with old classmates
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
family members. I've met family members that I've never met in person before, because like you, I have a huge family, and I
Mm-hmm.
have a family up in Philadelphia, up in Pennsylvania and New York area. A lot of them I never met before. Like this year was the first time that I've met a lot of my cousins from Philadelphia. They actually came down to my birthday and celebrated my birthday, but it was the first time we've actually met in person. But how about, I knew their older siblings,
Right.
because their older siblings used to come down during the summertime and stay with us during the summertime, and stay with our great grandmother during the summertime. So we had an opportunity to get to know them. But I tell you, social media is great for those that utilize it the proper way. So you said that you're going to be working on your memoir, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we'll see a follow-up to the children's book.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I also have a second poetry book coming out.
And
It's
the
gonna come
poetry
out
book.
next year probably. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have a lot to be
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to. So I want to encourage everyone to make sure that they are connecting. So please go over, um, check out our website. See if you can find her on Facebook. Check her out on social media. Make sure that you don't just go over and check her out. Follow her, like what she's doing. Y'all, we try to share content. We try to share encouraging words. We just try to be um we want to be that change that we desire to see in our communities.
Yeah.
So that's what we are. I definitely want to thank you for stopping by and sharing. I know you said that you are an introvert, and I know introverts they don't like to do interviews and like to be out. But I thank you for sharing with us. I don't think you're an introvert.
No, I was an introvert when I was younger. But I
Okay.
wouldn't say I'm an introvert now.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
know. You're not.
no, I'm not like not at all like when I was younger.
Yes,
But
yes. I
thank you
think
for
I
having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
anytime, anytime you are more than welcome to come back. When you introduce these new projects to the world, anytime you want to stop by, if not this platform, I'm on a couple of other platforms because I
Mhm.
do love to bring individuals together. I love to collaborate. I love to network. I love to partner. I'm not on this journey by myself. God didn't drop me out of the sky. He strategically placed me here. And in Jeremiah 29:11, he said he had a plan for us. He said to prosper us, for us to be in good health, for us to have hope in the future. So I know that his
Mhm.
word is not going to return to him void, that he's going to watch over into his performing perfected in all of our lives. So I look forward to seeing all the new things that you have coming out. I'm excited for you. And thank you for taking this opportunity to stop by and share with us on today. It's truly been an honor and a privilege to have you here. Before we leave, I want you to share something inspirational and encouraging to those that may be tuned in. There may be someone tuned in today and they've thought about writing a book. They've thought about doing some of these things and they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. I want you to give them a word of encouragement so that they can run on and see what the end is going to be.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to say that I believe everyone has a story to tell, and like the I guess the blessing or and the understanding I got from reading Maya Angelou's book, someone will benefit from your story, from whatever it is that you're writing, whatever you have to tell. So I believe everyone has one, and some people their way of telling it might be just to speak it, but other people it's to write it. And sometimes we look at it as it's going to be so hard to write it, but I think the first step is just to write it. Once you write it, then you can, decide how you're going to publish it, if you're going to publish it, what you're going to do with it. So I think the first step is to sit down and to write it. I think that no matter what you're going through, and I just want to encourage somebody, no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad it may seem, no matter how difficult it may seem, one of the things and one of the scriptures that I held on to my whole life, and everybody who knows me knows this is my favorite scripture, is Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord. And what I thought was the worst thing in my life, my mother leaving, not having a mother in the house when I was a child, became the best thing in my life, because years later I started working with grandparents raising grandchildren. I started at a community-based agency, and then the New York City Department for the Aging asked me to come on board. And I ran a grandparents resource center, and it was like a national model. I was in newspapers, I was in on television. I got to speak to governors, to the mayor, to different people, and I never in my life thought this kind of thing would happen. And one day I sat down and I said, well, how did this happen? How did I know what the grandparents need? How did I know what the grandchildren needed? How was I able to develop this program? And it came to me because I lived it. So what I thought was the worst thing in my life, and I'm not saying all things that happen are good, but I'm saying all things work together for good, as the scripture says. So what I thought was the worst thing in my life became the best thing in my life. So no matter what you're going through now, no matter what you're feeling now, look at it that God can use it for your good in the future. And if you have a story to tell, and we all do, write that story, and that's something that you want to do. Write that story, or you can get a ghostwriter. Sometimes you might not be the one to write it. You might want to need to get a ghostwriter. And so I just want to encourage you and let you know that you can do it. Because I didn't think I could do it, and I did it. And you can do it. And now I can't stop, Angela. I can't stop writing.
I say, look at you now. That's all I can say is look at you now. Um, that butterfly is definitely there. So
Thank you.
I thank you. I
Thank
thank you
you.
for that. So yes, again, thank you for stopping by and sharing with us on today. I pray that the rest of your day is blessed. And anytime you want to stop by, um, the platform is open. Make sure you drop by and share with us your new release.
Okay. Thank you.
You have a great day,
You
and thank
too.
you once again. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela. I hope you guys have been blessed on today. Please make sure that you go over, check out her website, check her out on Facebook, get to know her, follow her journey. Because I tell you, we're up for some surprises. We're up for a treat. The memoir, I'm telling you, it's going to be something. That journey, I promise you, is going to be something. So y'all, please make sure that you're supporting our platform. Go over and don't just like. Make sure that you follow her so that you can stay connected. Again, I am the queen of collaboration, Angela Thomas Smith. I'm the founder of AALAC, the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign. I'm also the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine. Our desire is to bridge the gap between brown authors all over this world. I hope you've been blessed on the day by something that was shared. If you have, please share this in your circle of friends. Y'all have a great day.
Join us Thursday, September 15th, 8:15 p.m.
It's your time, sis. Get your heart together. Get your mind together. Forgetting those things that are behind, sis. It's your time. It's your time. It's your time. It's your time. Not in no cute church way, but because you're going to roll up your sleeves and start doing the work. I reached my breaking point. I can't be this way no longer.